Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's me. I'm here. Uh, still trying to get water flowing in the dungeon, but I haven't talked about anything that's going on in the dungeon in a long time. I'm just sort of absent-mindedly completing rooms. But I'm here to finish this story. So, we leave off with me in the 8th grade, enamored with traveling men. I'm sorry if I get my times a little bit mixed up. Oh yeah, also there was this trip that the kids take in 8th grade. Every 8th grade class either gets the chance to go to France or to Spain. My year was a France year. So I had originally not planned on doing anything like this, right? Like what am I gonna do, right? I never had a lot of money. So just that was something that I never even thought of asking my parents about. And then I come into school one day. Mr. Marner, my former advisee, he just walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, Curtis, would you be interested in going to France or to Italy?" And I was like, "What?" I mean, yeah, it looks cool. I can't say I was gonna sign up. He's like, "Look, bro, do you want to go or no?" And I was like, "I would love to go." And he was like, "Say no more." That was how that conversation went. Literally had no idea what he was talking about. I get home. My mom is giddy with excitement. She tells me that someone has offered to pay in full for me to go on this trip. All I would need to provide is the clothes I'm wearing, and any extra money that I bring to purchase souvenirs. Huge moment in my life. But yeah, so I went on that France trip. I think if I had started singing in 7th grade, I legitimately think I would have went on the Italy trip. Because, at that point I would have had more, friends and stuff. Very cool. Very cool things. France trip was incredible. I have this little digital camera that I used on the trip, that I still use now, to take photos of birds. But, I so many of my current memories, and also, of my current friends. By the time I hit 8th grade, I started hanging out with Noah, and love that guy. That guy's incredible. Probably my best friend still to this date. And I also started hanging out with Jamel and Tremont, and recently have become better friends with those guys. And yeah, that France trip built a lot of ground for me. It built a lot of baseline stuff for me. Loved that. All thanks to... Actually, I've recently found out who it was. It was Dr. Harris, the guy who was the director of Bridges. He's still alive. He's just retired and moved. And it's so crazy to think so much of what I do now, I would not have ever started doing because of Bridges. I never would have started going to Gilman if it weren't for Bridges. I never would have started singing and getting so into music if I hadn't gone to Gilman, which is because I went to Bridges. I wouldn't have made friends at Gilman if it weren't for Bridges. Gilman built a lot of okay, on top of Gilman, Bridges especially. Bridges, I think, more than most other things in my life, built a whole super solid foundation for the man I am today. And I'm almost 18 now. I sincerely think that doing Bridges was probably the most important thing that ever happened to me. Legitimately, hands down. Anyway, back to the music thing. The whole point of this 3-episode long story. So I have to get the chest. I was going to ignore it, but I have to get it. I was in the 8th grade, had done a musical, heard the Traveling Men sing. I have confidence in my abilities. So I auditioned for Traveling Men. And guess what? I get in. That was super cool. I felt Um, literally the only time in my life I've legitimately, unironically jumped for joy. I at auditions, on the audition sheet, you write down your phone number and like all this all this stuff. Got a call from Mr. Ford sometime like the next day, because like auditions were like on a Friday. On Saturday, I get a call from Mr. Ford. He's like, "Hello, Curtis. This is Mr. Ford. How would you like to join the Gilman Traveling Men?" I was like, trying my hardest not to like, not to like squeal. That was the most excited I think I had been up to that point in my life. It was so incredible. I legitimately was jumping after that. Like, I hung up that phone call. I went to my parents to tell them that I got into Traveling Men, and like I was like jumping. I was like jumping around. It was incredible. So that summer, I had we were getting into like doing things now with the Traveling Men. The year before, okay. Also, one of the seniors who was leaving, because like when I got in, there were 5 seniors leaving who were all tenor twos, and then like also like a 6th guy who was like a bass. So like, it was a really lucky year for me to be auditioning, on top of my actual legitimate skill. But one of the guys who was a tenor two and was a leaving senior, his name was Alex Lawson. Well, is Alex Lawson. He's still alive. I met that guy through Bridges. He was in the first Gilman show I ever saw, which Dr. Harris took me to. Bridges. Okay, kind of Bridges, but also Dr. Harris just really liked me. So he'd take me to, we'd do things. But like, I met Alex Lawson through Bridges because he volunteered. So like, Bridges has put an insane amount of things into my life. Okay, yeah. So I get into Traveling Men. We sing with them as they leave, and then we go to retreat at Charlie Nicolini's house. He graduated. Loved that guy. Loved that experience. It was awesome. It was 2 like full days of just singing. Like all we did was sing for like 2 days. And like it hurt my throat. like I'd wake up in the morning and just like be dreading the fact that I have to sing in like 2 hours. But like, it was still super cool. It was still super awesome. And I loved being there. And that was awesome. That was when I finally was placed into an official voice part, singing tenor 2. And I loved it. It was great. It was high back then. It was really high for me back then. Now, it's much more manageable because, I'm used to singing. But like, it was a whole lot back then. So I started singing tenor 2. Super cool activities. I am also like learning. We learned like 6 songs in the course of like 2 days. So the point of that was like by the time we get to school, we have a pretty much full repertoire of music that we can do, whenever we need to. Oh, okay, that was pointless. So super cool, really fun times. We start singing in like actual school. All Traveling Men are required to be members of Glee Club, so I joined the Glee Club. I start singing with the Glee Club. Immediately love it. It's incredible. It was so fun. They have this one song, Ride the Chariot. Awesome. There was later on. Hey, I'm back. Sorry, that was kind of weird. Like a pause. My computer ran out of disk space to continue recording videos, so so now I'm here. I'm back. As I was saying, later on in the year, we went on retreat. Like the entire Glee Club went out on retreat, and that was great. That was actually really wonderful. I had a wonderful time doing that. because it was just like we went to Timonium and like we all stayed a night in the school, and that was so fun. That like really sort of like affirmed for me that like singing was a thing that I wanted to do. Like as well as traveling men retreat, but those are two memories that I will never forget. I'm also gonna continue this episode until like I'm finished telling the story. I might have completely changed directions at this point, so I apologize for that. Anyway, the other thing that was like really big for me, music wise at least, was doing musicals, like actually getting into theater. My first high school show was with, I want to say the one with like yeah. It was at Roland Park Country School, and what it was Bye Bye Birdie, which, to be honest, I personally do not believe that to be a very good show. However, they liked it, so I liked it. I was doing volleyball at the time, so I didn't audition fully for like a big role. But I was like also you know, like I was doing volleyball, so I did the absolute least thing that I could do, because that was all I had the time for, and I still enjoyed that. I think that was really fun still. Like the couple of group numbers that I was in, super fun. Love those. Then in the spring, I decided to do my first full-on Gilman musical, which is, again, like that was the next big step. I had seen a Gilman show before when I was younger with Dr. Harris, as I said before, but it's been a long time. It had been a long time, and people kept telling me, "Oh, the Gilman shows are so great; they're incredible. You really gotta go do it." So I decided, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the Gilman show. I get to auditions. Everything's going great. I audition. I'm trying to get out of there first, and not having the best time because Mr. Rowell isn't very good at times. He'll tell you, all right, we're going to be done at this time. So plan to leave at this time, and then we're not done until like, especially during auditions, we're not done till like an hour past then. So, you know, not good. Didn't like that. I really enjoy being punctual, and I did not like that. So, all right, starting my first show with Mr. Rowell. Very cool time. Okay, at this point, I had known that I was a tenor, right? I had known that I sing tenor, because that's what I sing. That's how it goes. It makes sense to me that I sing tenor. Well, I have to find where all the chests are. Alright. That show was where I realized, oh, I'm a tenor. Like, I can sing really high. And I sort of started running with that. Like in a good few of the, like, full chorus numbers, like the tenor part would go all the way up to an A, like a high A4, and you know, we just have to like do that. I knew I like sang tenor too, and I was like, you know what, I guess if I have to, I can go up there. And I did, I could do it consistently, honestly, which was super surprising because earlier on that year I couldn't. And also this show was like canceled for COVID, but like it still taught me a lot about singing and about how it works to sing with people. Incredible experience. The dancing was great as well. There was like, they sort of divided us up into like two groups. One was like regular ensemble and the other was like the dance crew, and we danced. that was really fun. I had a lot of fun doing that. Wait, let me find the chests again. Okay. Going down a floor. It's where I really started to get to know Poe and like talking with an A, and I used to not like that guy. but now I not like him less. You know what I mean? Like he's all right. He's an okay guy. And I enjoy his presence. I also, after that, so like during this whole period, right? I already had a basic sense of like pitch and stuff, and now I'm starting throughout my time at Gilman, especially, to build my knowledge of the pitches. Like I know, I've always been able to hear and replicate pitches. It was knowing them and what the letters are that was always like confusing to me. That was always the one that I couldn't get. So I started learning letters and stuff for pitches so that I could like really start writing and like talking intelligently about music. And at this point I had built up my full, I think, repertoire of pitches pretty much. I know most of them by name now. The only ones that I can't get quickly are D sharp and F natural. But like in that sort of way that's like, I don't know them, but I know the ones that are right next to them, so it's easy to find them. I started doing things with GarageBand, more than just like using this program that I had and was using in the 7th grade, where it was just like, oh, write it down as if it were